Fable 5 is the best executor I've ever worked with, and that includes Opus 4.8, my daily driver. I'm telling you this upfront. I just spent a week driving Fable to 81% of my usage cap, and by the end I had a problem I've never had with an AI subscription before. I ran out of things to build. The biggest of those things is a native macOS app that edits my videos for me. 8 phases overnight, 102 commits in 6 days. The 2 hours I used to spend cutting bad takes in Premiere are now about 20 minutes. The part you won't find in the benchmarks. I didn't let Fable write the plan. The plan came from a different model entirely, and I think that's exactly how you should use Fable. Here's the evidence. For context on why this app exists, I read my videos from a teleprompter. English is not my first language. Plenty of famous YouTubers work the same way, and I've made peace with that part. What I never made peace with is everything around it. I stutter, I misread lines, I record the same sentence 3 times. And then I pay for all of that in the edit. Recording is the most unpleasant part of the video production for me, and cleaning the bad takes out afterwards takes up to 2 hours per video, even with Premiere's text-based editing. Services that solve this exist: Glean AI, The Script. They're paid subscriptions. I already pay Adobe for this channel, and a few months ago they basically doubled the price without extending the generation limits. This channel is my hobby project, and it doesn't bring me much income yet, so I decided not to go with yet another subscription, especially not for a problem my existing AI subscription could build me out of. There was one more reason to build instead of buy. It sounded like fun. I had never built a macOS app before, and trying Fable on something I'm barely familiar with felt like exactly the right kind of test. There was also a deadline. When I started, Fable 5 was supposed to stay available only until July 7th, and nothing focuses the mind like an expiring model. So, the idea: a local tool that takes my raw takes plus the script I was reading and treats the script as ground truth. The script, not the transcript. I had played with Whisper locally before, and it recognized my speech accurately enough to place every word on a timeline. If the tool knows exactly what I meant to say, it can find the take where I finally said it and drop everything else. First, the plan. It started as a regular conversation. Fable reached for the brainstorming skill from the Superpowers plugin and interviewed me about what I actually wanted to build. But the heavy lifting of planning I handed to a different model. I used Oracle, an open source tool, link in the description. It ships your prompt and files into a real Chrome session, so browser-only models like GPT 5.5 Pro with extended reasoning can answer with your full context, no API key involved. My slightly modified version still breaks whenever ChatGPT changes its UI. When it works, it's worth the duct tape. So Fable collected my requirements in that brainstorm, packed everything up and shipped it off. 12 minutes later I had the plan, and it was an outstanding plan. Everything from the tech stack down to the decision to go with a native app instead of Electron. The reason for that one I'll show you when we get to the demo. GPT 5.5 Pro Extended is, I think, the best deep research tool out there right now. It's also a premium one, you only get it on plans from $100 a month. So I'm squeezing everything I can out of it. Fable's job was to attack that plan and look for weak spots. Its main correction: the 2 riskiest assumptions were scheduled last, so it moved them to the very front. Before writing any product code, Phase 0 had to prove that Premiere would actually import the generated XML and that Whisper could handle my accent on real footage. Then it locked the plan into the repo on July 2nd and split the work into 8 phases. The smartest executor you have doesn't need to be your planner. Fable didn't seem offended by the arrangement. Quick pause before the execution part. If these experiments are useful to you, the like button and subscription help more than you'd think for a channel this size. The Grey Cat Discord is linked below too. That's where I share the things that never become videos. Now the execution. If you watched my CMAX video, this was the same orchestrator and worker setup, one step up. Fable ran as the orchestrator in one pane. Opus 4.8 on high effort did the implementation in another. Every time the worker reported a phase done, Fable verified the claims before accepting anything. The split wasn't about quality. Fable is capped at 50% of my weekly plan usage, so the cheaper Opus tokens did the implementation and the expensive ones did the supervision. The first evening I told it I was going to sleep and left it with the plan. It said, alright, I'll figure things out. It even grabbed caffeinate on its own to keep my Mac awake. I have a menu bar utility exactly for that. Turns out nobody needed me for this decision either. The morning report read like a shift handover. Phases 0 through 7 complete, verified and pushed. 14 commits. Python tests, Galdens, the saved reference outputs, and the Swift build, all green. It even had a section titled Judgment Calls I Made on Your Behalf. One detail reframed overnight runs for me though. I woke up in the middle of the night and checked the screen. The run had already been finished for hours, done within about an hour of me leaving. I wasn't giving it a night of work. I was giving it an hour of work and 7 hours of me not interrupting. Now, about what all green actually got me. The one-shot version barely worked. The app launched, technically, but the UI looked like what macOS gives you when you refuse to hire a designer. And the quality of the edits wasn't good either. Getting from that overnight prototype to the final version took 4 more days of iteration. By the end of the week, the repo had 102 commits, and most of them are exactly that. The iteration went in 2 directions. The easy one was the design. I took screenshots of every screen in the app and fed them to Claude Design, along with the context of my personal OS and the Greycat website. The mockups came back already in the channel style. The orange buttons, the black background. A properly polished version of my own interface. I handed that back to Fable and the app came out looking almost exactly like the mockups. One touch nobody asked for. The mockups had a theme toggle, so Fable implemented automatic light and dark switching. Changed the system theme and the app follows. Same story as Caffeinate, it keeps doing a bit more than you asked for. I've stopped being surprised, I haven't stopped liking it. The hard direction was the edit quality. I imported the sources and the script from my latest video and let it cut. The result was better than a raw timeline, but a long way from anything I'd publish. Wrong takes picked, repeat surviving, cuts in odd places. I kept pointing at the wrong pieces, it kept fixing them, and we weren't converging fast enough. Then I remembered I already owned the perfect reference, my published edits. So I exported the XML of the video I had edited by hand and gave it to the model as ground truth. It analyzed how I actually cut, adjusted the engine, and the results got noticeably better. I did the same for my last 5 videos, and from that point every fixed round was measured against a real human edit instead of my vague complaints. On my test video, the tool now agrees with my own take choices 95.5% of the time. Across 7 real videos, it holds between 77 and 86%. Lower, but that's the realistic number, measured on videos it wasn't tuned against. And one single fix removed 86 seconds of doubled speech from a 16.5-minute video. Those are the cases where I stumble, restart the sentence, and both reads survive. This is the gray cut. You drag in your raw takes and the script you read and press run. Under the hood, it's 2 processes. A Python engine listens with Whisper and maps every word I said onto the script. Same input, same output. On top of it sits a native macOS app. The plan chose native SwiftUI for one specific reason. Apple's AVFoundation can play the proposed cut instantly, skipping every remote span without rendering a single frame. You're previewing an edit that doesn't exist yet. The tool grew into a small video editor along the way. The timeline shows every cut it proposed, with the rejected takes still there under the surface. Nothing is deleted, everything can be restored. If it missed something, a filler word or a silence that runs too long, I can fix it right in place. To be fair, in-place editing is still the buggiest corner of the app. During one of my test sessions, the delete key simply refused to delete. I chased those glitches down and fixed most of them. The few that survived never worried me because the export was always there as a safety net. One click writes an XML file that imports into Premiere as a normal cut sequence, and I finish the polish there, in my usual environment. Knowing I could always fall back to Premiere is why the remaining bugs never rattled me. To test the full loop, I recorded a fresh dummy script and ran it through. The result wasn't perfect. A few doubled phrases survived, the kind where I restart a sentence without leaving a pause. But it was good enough to start polishing by hand, and that's the whole point. By my estimate, the 2 hours I used to spend clearing raw footage came down to about 20 minutes. And this video is the first full test of that estimate. Every time I finish a video, I can export my final edit and feed it back in. The tool gets a little more like me with each one. If you want to copy the workflow, the recipe is short. Plan with the strongest planner you can reach. Hand Fable the locked plan, or even just a goal with a to-do list, and walk away. Every time I did this, it finished sooner than I expected. The orchestrator and worker split I used is purely about economics. It saves Fable tokens, it doesn't add quality. I only ran Opus workers on this project because of the 50% cap. That split earns its keep on big features where the token savings add up. For a quick fix, I just used Fable inline and skipped the orchestration entirely. Everything else that week was Fable solo. My personal OS task and a difficult YARN to PNPM migration on the work project. For the migration, I gave it the goal, it worked for 4 hours and it exited when everything was green. That sentence would have sounded like science fiction to me a year ago. It also degrades much more slowly as the context window fills. With Opus, I clear the context at 20% out of habit and self-defense. Fable at 40% is still perfectly usable. Now the caveat. However powerful this model is, verification is still on the human. Most of its mistakes during the week happened exactly where it had no way to check its own work. It can't watch its own rendered video. At least not yet. I haven't tried the computer use skills, so maybe that loop can be closed. For now, the deal is simple. It builds, I verify, it fixes. One more thing about this video, it's the first real test of the final build. The footage you've been watching went through the gray cut before it went through me, including a few last refinements from Fable that I hadn't tested until this very edit. And the script I've been reading, Fable wrote it too. I guess I got so desperate to find things to use Fable on before the deadline that I even handed it the script. I don't think you would have noticed. The rest of my week went into smaller things. I simplified my coding Kanban board and I built a video idea validator, so I stopped spending 8 hours on topics that get 400 views. Fable also analyzed how I actually use it and built custom skills around my routine. If you want a video about those, let me know in the comments. The gray cut itself stays private, at least for now. I'll be testing and improving it over the next few videos, and then we'll see if there's demand and where to go next with it. If you'd actually use it, say so in the comments. The overnight build had one supervisor, by the way. TGC wakes me up 2 or 3 times at night anyway, but that night one of the meows came suspiciously close to the moment that tests went green. I'm convinced she was reporting the build status. She charged me a food reward for the notification either way. And if you want to see where this orchestrator and worker setup came from, watch my CMAX video next. It should be on your screen right now. See you there.